It's time for Uncancelled. And this is where Britain's top commentators speak out on controversial issues without the fear of the cancel culture sweeping the rest of the media. Now, with the countdown to the coronation very much on, King Charles is facing controversy and drama from all angles. So Buckingham Palace is engaged in conflict with the Archbishop of Canterbury over the controversial Pledge of Allegiance, while traditionalists are concerned about the stripping of ancient practices in favour of a more woke ceremony on Saturday. Then, of course, there are the oh-so-predictable publicity stunts from the Duke and Duchess of Delusion, which threaten to steal the limelight from the official proceedings. Now, no man knows more about all of this than the esteemed royal biographer of both King Charles and Meghan Markle, Tom Bauer, who joins me live now in the studio. So, Tom, look, we did expect a publicity stunt from Meghan. You actually predicted it. But were you surprised at just how planned it was? You know, 3 big moments after 4 months out of the spotlight, 2 days apart. There's no doubt that this is an engineered attempt to insert herself back into the story just ahead of the coronation.
And I think, Dan, I think there's more to come.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think she's the master of the unexpected to deliver, and it's all expected. So I'm sure that when Harry is here, or just before he arrives, something else will come out of California. And unfortunately, it'll overshadow what the coronation is meant to be about, and not meant to be about her.
And our own Phil Dampier, early in the show tonight, revealing news that Harry has threatened that if details of his flight to the UK are leaked, that he might actually stay at home because he's throwing his toys out the cot about security again.
Well, I've always suspected that he didn't want to come. I've always said on the programme I didn't think they would come at all. I didn't think he would come, and I think he's looking for an excuse not to come, because I think quite clearly he has been put back into the guest list area of the Abbey rather than at the front. And I suspect he'll look for an excuse until the very last moment not to come, and that'll be the stunt they'll pull. I mean, that is the great problem. If Charles had dealt with it properly weeks or months ago, we wouldn't be hanging on whether the Meghan and Harry are coming or not. But unfortunately, he's played into their hands on this.
But it is so shameless and shameful that they yet again want to make this event all about them, Tom.
Well, that's the problem. That was been faced ever since the Sandringham Summit, nearly 3 years ago now. I mean, it is all about them. And unfortunately, because King Charles has not been firm, they're getting their own agenda.
Well, indeed. Indeed, which you've been very clear on. Now, this growing row between Buckingham Palace and the Archbishop of Canterbury and Lambeth Palace over the Pledge of Allegiance, which seems to have annoyed a lot of people, Tom, because it's not just a Pledge of Allegiance to King Charles, is it? It's the heirs and successors too. And, of course, that includes Andrew and Harry. Who do you blame, and why do you think this has ended up a bit of a PR disaster so soon before the coronation?
Well, because I blame entirely the Archbishop, in the sense that he is really an extraordinary man who has no sense of reality and keeps on, always that image of him prostrating himself on a tombstone and always protesting about the most ridiculous things. And the palace should have controlled him, but unfortunately they don't control him in a way which was necessary. And I think this oath of allegiance, the idea of sitting at home watching the coronation and then reciting off some ridiculous words on the screen, is just, it's just childish.
So you won't do it?
Of course not. It's just ridiculous. I mean, we're going to be 19 around the TV, all the family, the children, a lot. But I think the children would just laugh at it. And what a ridiculous idea. And I just think whoever is in charge of the palace at that moment didn't have their marbles.
Some brighter news, though, for the royal family in terms of a host of major polls, including from the Daily Mail, which do suggest that support for the monarchy is strong. But you say there's a few caveats that Charles should be worried about.
Well, I think the polls were encouraging, but he's only got 54%, whereas the monarchy has 62%. And the point about this country is we believe in the monarchy. It's been there for 1,000 years. The alternative of President Prescott or President Blair is so appalling that we're delighted. And I do think that Princess Anne's interview with the Canadians,
stunning, wasn't it?
It just reminded us there is a woman who is not only solid and is such a a force. But, you know, she was an Olympic equestrian.
Yeah.
She's a woman who really has done her best. And most interesting of all, her children don't have titles. They're anonymous, unlike Meghan Markle's. And she really is a realist. And I think it's very interesting that she chose this moment to give an interview and say she didn't believe in a slimmed-down monarchy, she didn't believe in reparations, she doesn't believe in the woke agenda. She really is a solid Englishwoman.
I mean, what's your experience with Princess Anne? Do you feel like she's on board with her elder brother? Because I loved the message that Anne was putting out there, but it's not in line with the much more woke approach that we've seen from the King in recent weeks, especially in regards to historic slavery reparations.
Well, I think Princess Anne and obviously her brother, they remember each other from as childhood and then teenagers and all the rest. And I had this extraordinary encounter with her when I was writing the Charles biography at Ascot, and someone introduced her to me in a private box and said, Anne, this is Tom Bower. He said, who's writing your brother's biography? Oh, she said, why are you doing that? Well, I thought I could make it up and said, well, because he's very fascinating. What? Rubbish, she said. And she has this wonderful direct... I got to tell you another...
Waspish.
I got to tell you another... very funny. She and my wife went to school together at Benenden. My wife was about 3 or 4 years younger. And she saw my wife, and they hadn't seen each other since school. And there's Anne looking imperiously at her, and she says... Hello, Wadley. Long time no see. You know, she's a
woman. You might say one of the great queens we never had, but hopefully she has more of an influence on Charles. Big news, Tom. You're going to be with us live at Buckingham Palace Thursday night for our special preview of the coronation, so I can't wait to see you then. But it's time now to